For the past week, we've been speaking about how November is likely to open up on a bit of a pullback. And in today's video, we'll be going over what the best and worst case scenarios for that pullback are likely are. And also just a reminder of when those lows perhaps are going to be coming in around, at least if history is anything to be going off of, which, I don't know, typically it actually has been, especially the past couple months with this playing out rather well. Anyways, I'm going to remind myself of the data over here regarding Bitcoin November lows. On average, we typically see it similar to October early on in the month within about the first week, especially during macro uptrends. But what's something even more interesting than that, at least in my opinion, is that during prior election years or halving years, whatever the fuck you want to put on top of that, maybe it's a combination of both, maybe neither matters, but 2012, 2016, and 2020 all saw the lows of November very, very early on within the month. The second day, the third day, and the second day, respectively, for all of those prior election years. And what is when I went a little bit more deeply into the data, what I also found is that those particular days were all weekdays. Now, they were not the same weekday, to be fair, Monday, Thursday, and Friday. So some of them were like, a day before the election. Some of them were like a day or two after. But ultimately, they were all weekdays. So I do suspect that we will very likely see the lows in November again, very early on, probably sometime next, or well, it'd have to be next week, actually. It'd have to be next week if this is going to be, if this is going to play out. But it's unlikely to be Saturday or Sunday because those are, not going to be weekdays, obviously. And then of course, what's the next best day? Monday, which would be the 4th. So maybe somewhere around there. Maybe it could even be the 1st. Maybe it could even be today as we going over, but I do think that's a little bit less likely. So let's now talk what that would likely look like in terms of price action as far as, what's the best case scenario versus the worst case scenario. Best case scenario, I just wanted to pull up a pretty damn simplistic and easy chart right here. Again, it's the 5-day chart looking at that red moving average, which is the 5 exponential moving average. And again, throughout the full history of Bitcoin does not like to spend too long away without reconnecting officially with that moving average. Every once in a while, every once in a blue moon, you'll see a couple of closures that do not reconnect with it. But ultimately, it almost always comes back. And, this is, again, the exception to the rule where we do see, historically speaking, just about every single period does reconnect with it. And even when it doesn't, and it spends like maybe 1 or 2 at most periods away, 3 at most periods away, price does not deviate that much from that region. Like wherever price was, it kind of stays there until it reconnects. And then you potentially see a continuation as we kind of go, peruse through the history of Bitcoin here. So going back to our current date, this would kind of correlate, at least in my opinion, quite well with the best worst case scenario, the best pullback scenario, which would be the 5-day time frame, which is currently positioned at around $68,000. Of course, if Bitcoin were to just green dildo its way from here, I mean, that is possible. We did see a reconnect on the last couple ones. So if this one wanted to, disconnect here, I mean, I guess it could, especially if Bitcoin in the next 5 days, like absolutely fucking bullzookaed, it would actually, could theoretically even pull up the current the 5 exponential here to the low of this current period at 68,777. But whether it comes down another $700, $800 or not, or just anywhere around that region, I think is at least in my opinion, a little bit less important long term. Obviously, this also plays well with the 5-day setup, meaning that, if you are bullish on Bitcoin, we really actually don't expect Bitcoin to close below this region, but I will go over, likely the worst case scenario as well. And it's, again, just using a very simple tool here. It's not going to be perfect, but it is going to be getting us in the right direction most of the time. Here's the monthly time frame. Again, same moving average, that 5 exponential. You can see that Bitcoin almost never, I mean, it does certainly close away from it every once in a while. Yes, but price does not deviate too much from that level until you do get that reconnect. Again, it is the exception to the rule as we do go onwards and backwards through the full history of Bitcoin here. I'll just kind of let you test visually with your own eyes, but prove it to yourself. But in this case, what would the worst case scenario be? Perhaps down around here, which would be on the monthly time frame about 66, very low, maybe low to mid $66,000. So I do think that's that's worst case scenario. Maybe get a quick wick down around there on some election uncertainty. Who knows what the hell goes on during that time? It's like I'm glad right now that I'm not in the U.S. During this time, just in case there's something crazy happens. It'll be fun to watch it from afar, but I just hope that everything's fine. And more importantly, once the uncertainty of this situation gets resolved, then markets typically do the same thing that they've been doing for this whole year, which is go up, which is go fucking up. The market that never goes down. Anyways, seeing as we are on a new monthly here, I should update on the new monthly stochastic momentum pivot. Obviously, Bitcoin did fulfill last month's pivot, which was above 65,800. And in this month, November, we are going to see that pivot actually slightly go down from the prior one to 65,650. So usually when it goes down, in this case, really not down by that much, but it is down a little bit. That is actually a good sign for further continuation. In this case, that would be to the upside. Again, things are getting critical here. And the next time that we do see the monthly stochastic oscillator come down and close, like open and close below this critical zone, I will have no problem calling, probably a macro high, at least a major high, probably a macro high. As that has been, the deal. That's been the deal. It's been the deal. What did Elsa say the other day? What did you say the other day? She's not even listening. Anyways, yes, so that did move up. Also, bi-monthly time frame continues to the upside here as well. Again, closing on the highest number that we have ever seen ever on the 2-month time frame here. So yes, and of course, also the bi-monthly time frame has that same sort of relationship to the 5 exponential moving average. Really don't see it, trend too far away from price action, for too long. And in this case, the bottom side of it would be actually significantly lower. So hopefully this is one of those times that it doesn't. Otherwise, that could be all the way down to like very, very, very low 63,300. So that's like worst case scenario. In my opinion, if Bitcoin came down around there, even on a quick wick, that'd be pretty fucking concerning. But at this point, and going forwards from here, I do want to get back onto the 5-day time frame, speak a little bit more about. Actually, no. You know what? Let's go over here first. Let's go over to the HPDR. So Bitcoin did do some important things with last night's closure as well. When we go back here, yes, there we go. We can see that the monthly time. Hey, go back to the damn monthly time frame. Yeah, the monthly time frame has opened within the 38.2 level. So again, this really would be the time that you would be expecting a major continuation of this rally on CME. It's a little bit more obvious here too. Bitcoin really clinging into that 38.2 level. Yes, the median is coming in at 73,000 and change. We would really expect Bitcoin to reclaim this month, assuming that markets are going to green dildo their way here, which, seasonality and everything else that we've looked at suggests that that's still more than likely, and tentatively looking somewhere around the top side of the 38.2 level for that next major rally, which would be basically like $90,000, give or take a couple $1,000 from that number. That doesn't need to happen this month, by the way. That's probably more like a December, January type thing. But hey, this month we would expect to reclaim this. And Bitcoin probably tries to move towards $80,000. Again, this all kind of plays hand in hand with the 5-day time frame setup that we have been going over. This one's still viable. Of course, it has gotten or almost a retest of that 5 exponential moving average right here. Again, if and when Bitcoin does close below, this trade will close, which did open at 62,800. But again, long term, I like the results. This strategy is essentially designed to catch on to those long-term trendy moves. Not to say that every trendy move, every open is going to be one of those major trendy moves, but all major trendy moves begin and end with a close above and below that 5 exponential in the 5-day time frame, just as the most simplistic way of looking at this. Not saying that we can't make this more complicated. Of course we can. It's just, when we're doing these things for YouTube and whatnot, people want to follow around, then probably should make it easier. A couple things about this one. Again, average amount of bars and trades is 9 for the winning trades, which would put us into the 3rd week of November. And the average return for the winning trades as well is close to 30% from that open. So again, this one, just because the average is 30% doesn't mean that all of them are going to be 30%, but it is interesting to see that 30% would put Bitcoin $82,000, which is starting to get to the lower end of, at least in my opinion, a likely targeted region for this month of November. So yeah, again, it will close actually at a pretty decent profit as well. If Bitcoin does close below that 5 exponential, which is, let's just call it $68,000. So until that happens, upside still more, the more likely thing. Again, we've been preparing for a bit of a, early month pullback here. So this is all within the data, even though, Bitcoin's crashing to fucking $69,000. Crazy. It's like, listen to yourself. Crashing to $69,000. Look, I'm not saying that Bitcoin can't turn around. Of course, anything is possible, but what is the most probable thing to happen? Still upside from here. And I don't really have a reason to be considering, major downside price action or one massive failure here, or 40,000 or 30,000 or 12,000, whatever the fuck the targets are that keep on getting espoused in all the social media venues, until at fucking minimum, Bitcoin is back down below that last, what was it right here? Yeah, $65,000. Below $65,000. Okay, something else might be going on for sure. But until then, I give it the benefit of the doubt, and still remain, looking up and to the right. So that will do it for today's video. As always, I want to wish you the best of best. We'll be back on tomorrow for... We'll see. Actually, what do we want to do tomorrow? I don't know. Maybe some big 3 analysis. Maybe we try something completely different. So yeah, that'll be a good place for me to be leaving off. Actually, on that note, maybe I should bring it up now. I was considering doing something a little bit different for this, for this hopefully more interesting upcoming portion of the market cycle, which is over the weekends. I would do like an hour-long video, kind of in the same format as a live stream, but not a live stream. It would be pre-recorded, and I'd have like a section on Discord where people could post questions and shit like that, and then I just go through as many as I can go through within like an hour, and then yeah. Maybe it could be interesting. Probably will have to be a small dollar amount for that, just because it might get like too much. There might be. It might actually be too many people, but we'll see. We'll see what the sort of interest is, and maybe go from there. Anyways, yeah, I'll sign off on that note. As always, take care, much love, and see you hopefully tomorrow.